Well, good afternoon, everyone, or good evening from wherever you are tuning in from today. In today's live podcast episode, we are going to be talking with the beautiful LaVada, Miss England, and she is going to be sharing her journey today on how she turned trauma into power through faith, resilience, and the power of God. But before we get started, please, if you are watching the live broadcast right now on my YouTube channel, which is Let's Break the Silence with Angeline, please hashtag live in the chat. And if you are going to be watching the replay, please hashtag replay. And we are also live on my Facebook business page, which is Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. So I'm really, really super excited to have Ms. England here with me. So today's guest, she is a woman whose story will inspire you to your core. So I am honored to introduce LaVada, a mother, mentor, emotional intelligence expert, international speaker, and a true example of what it means to turn pain into purpose. Ms. England has overcome domestic violence, molestation, addiction, but through it all, she found her strength and faith and created the powerful potted plant method to help others unravel from their own bondages. So if you ever felt stuck in silence or wondered how to reclaim your life after trauma, this conversation is for you. So without further ado, LaVada, welcome to the stage.
Hi, Angeline. How are you?
I am doing great. How about yourself?
I'm magnificent.
Magnificent. You look absolutely beautiful. I love your background. I love your outfit, everything. I wore black today, but that's okay. Pink and black.
Yeah.
And we had the pleasure of meeting through a speakers networking group that I just joined last week. And Miss England was so inspired, by my story that I shared of overcoming domestic violence that, she reached out to me. I remember you reached out to me and we scheduled the podcast show today. And I know, like, for those of you who are tuning in today or are going to be watching the replay, I want to ask you this question. I always ask all my guests, what time is it where you are right now?
It's 10:41 a.m.
10:41 a.m.
Yes.
On the West Coast. You see that?
Yes.
That's why, you're glowing and radiating with beauty.
Glory to God. I'm going to say all glory to God.
Glory to God. Right. And I recall that.
Yeah,
that's right. You're 100% right. And I recall that you had told me that you never really shared your story of overcoming domestic violence. So please, this is why we're here today, everyone, to break the silence. She is going to break the silence and share her story of overcoming domestic violence. And you went through so much.
Yeah.
Molestation and addiction. So, and this is a heartfelt conversation. So whatever you would like to share with the audience, I know that is going to empower everyone here.
Yeah, and that's
the ladies who may be going through that right now, because you know what it is like with domestic violence. It's a silent epidemic. Would you agree with me on that?
It is, and it you can get caught in it because you don't know who to count on. Sometimes you don't have family, so you're stuck in it because it's like, this is a stable place for me, so I'll just continue to live in this condition. When it becomes stable. And thank God at that time I still had my sister. My older sister was killed in a car accident in 99. However, when I was going through a lot of my things, my sister was still alive. She was my protector. She listen, if we were going to fight, we were fighting together. She was just that that sister, when I was a little girl, as a little baby, I didn't get the spankings. She would have mom give her the spankings for me, type of thing, and
Right,
I
right.
have never openly, like, I've had some one-on-ones and told people about some of the things I had gone through, and but to be open and talk about it, like, for instance, with you, I've never done it.
Mm,
I don't look like I've been through DV. People sometimes don't even believe it, and I say, listen, I've gone through a lot more than what you can even imagine. However, but God's grace through it all. I have to always give honor and glory back to God for keeping me. I have 4 beautiful daughters now, but when I was a younger girl, let me see, I had my first daughter when I was 16, which means I was pregnant at 15 by an older man. My daughter's father was 21.
mm,
Uh, and that goes back to the molestation that I had experienced in my household. Let me say this. I experienced a lot of things in my household under my mom's protection. And this is why self-advocacy for us as women is so vital. My
mm,
mom did not know how to self-advocate for herself, so she did not know how to protect me
mm.
as the baby. You see, my siblings did a lot of protecting. As I said, my oldest sister was my protector, right? My older brother went away to the military at 17. He attended a high school down here called Lincoln, and as soon as he turned 17, he left, and so I had to endure a lot of things. They were kind of getting away from mom, but when we do not know how to self-advocate as women, as the mothers, as the voices for our children, we will not know how to protect our children as efficiently as we would be able to if we knew how to self-advocate for ourselves. And so I say this because I hold my mom to no contempt. I had to release her. I had to forgive her because she did not know how to protect herself. So how could she have known how to protect me? Being molested in her household, seeing her in domestic violence relationships. So my mom has her own story. But there was a time when I was getting pushed through glass tables. I had had a busted lip. I was fighting this man, and some of his friends would they would take things from our household, like little things like cassette tapes, stack them up, take them out of our
Right.
house. I would let him know what's going on, and he had some anger issues. His mom passed away, and I was the closest thing to him. So here we go, right? The
Right.
domestic violence begin, and he was maybe 6'2", 6'3", and I'm like 5'4" and a half, but I have a lot of fight in me.
Well,
So
you're a strong woman. I can see that. We have it within us. So,
you
would
know
you say that inner fight, we have that within us?
we have a power within us. Matter of fact, that's the name of my one workbook that I just did, called The Power Within.
Oh,
But we have a lot of fight within us, and yeah, it could be a scary place, because that man says, I'm not going to hit you again. I mean, physically, men are made stronger than us as women. I mean, that's their genetic makeup, and it can be scary fighting a man back. However, sometimes you can put that, it says, an old saying is, you never know how strong tea is until you put it in hot water, right? You never know how strong the woman is until you put them in hot water. And here we go, fighting back. And I remember the day sitting with him at the hospital, because of course he busted my lip, but I bit his knuckle. So he got the greater infection, right? Because our mouths, right?
uh,
Our mouths are, we have so many germs and different things in our mouths, right? I mean, that's just reality. That's why it's like, usually if you get a bite, you have to go get a tetanus shot,
there you
or
go. There you go.
in the foot. You got to go get the tetanus shot. And so when he busted my lip, I bit down on his knuckle, and he's the one that's in the hospital, right? And I'm sitting next to him. He's in the bed. They're looking at his knuckle. And of course, the nurse walks in and she says, "Oh, what happened here?" And I want to say I was probably in my early, I had to be in my early 20s. Let me see, because my oldest daughter was born at 16. Him and I have a daughter together, and I was 19, maybe 20 when I had her.
Wow.
And so I had to be like 21, 22. And we're sitting in this hospital room. The nurse walks in and asks, "Hey, what's going on? How did you get this?" And of course, we're giving them some type of side story, but they can clearly see that my lip is busted and he has the bite on his hand, you know.
Wow.
So they got the bigger picture, even though we said, "Oh, nothing happened," you know. But it went on like this for a couple of years, and my sister pretty much got tired of me running to her house, and she said, you have to leave. You have to get out of this relationship. So I stayed with my sister. And after going through things like that, you have to be mindful of the interactions that you have with the men afterwards.
Mm.
Though I believe that I was very protective of my children, I had to learn how to self-advocate for myself as a woman and say, I'm not taking this from anyone anymore. Not just men, the women that sometimes come in our lives that proclaim that they're our friends, and they do something and we're like, what are you like? I know how to be a friend. Some of us as women, we know how to be friends, but then we get other women in our lives, they don't know how to be friends. So
I agree with you.
Right. And so we're putting these hard stops in our lives because we say we're not taking any abuse from anyone.
Exactly.
And I think that we should be able to do that as women.
I agree with you. Absolutely. Self-advocacy. That, and I commend you for taking your power back. And that is so, so important. And what you went through, let me ask you this, because your story is one of incredible resilience. So, what were the pivotal moments that led you from survival to stepping into your power? Let's dig a little bit deeper into self-advocacy. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so my children, okay, so let me go. One of the things that individuals say, that if you don't love yourself, you can't love anything else. And I'm not completely in agreement with that, because at some point I began to love my children so much to where I did not want to see anything bad happen to them. Now, we can't prevent everything. Like when they get older, we can't prevent everything from happening to them. But when they're little and they're in our custody, and we can love on them and we can protect them and we can groom them, navigate them through the terrains of life, I wanted to be able to do that. I think sometimes, and maybe, it can happen to a boy child, a male child, or a female child. My second daughter, whom I had with this man, some people would think maybe our relationship, or maybe I would not give, because I've seen individuals have children by men that they were abused by, and sometimes the child is pushed away. Oh, you remind me of, right? It's a reminder of the abuse they've been through. I wanted to pull my children in close because I didn't feel as protected as I think I should have been, right? Yeah. Again, my mom had her own trauma, her own story. I didn't know who my dad was, though I believe that I reached out to a gentleman that is a sibling of mine. And we talked many, many years ago, but I never met my dad. By the time I got in touch with him, my dad was passed away. And so some of the pivotal points and times in my life was that I knew that my babies did not have a voice. I knew that I needed to get myself together in order to be there for my children. How was I going to teach my children to be different? I wanted to do something different than what my mom could do for me. So those were very pivotal points in my life. And let me say this, especially having Black baby girls in this society,
Right.
I had to be able to help them with their self-esteem. I had
Mm.
to be able to let them know that they were special, that they are intelligent, that they are beautiful, that they are smart. You know, there's certain things that our baby girls need, and baby boys too, but I only have girls. So I'm only talking from a girl point of view. And from me being a woman, a Black woman raised up in this society all of my life, when you don't hear when certain things are not planted on you, the good things are not planted on you, then you grow, you navigate through life incorrectly. It- it's
Okay.
always it's always a hurt. It's always a this. There's the victim attitude. And it's like, I'm not a victim, I'm a victor, right?
Right. We are victors. We
We're
are victors. I have
yeah,
not used the word victim. I mean, I've used it to say, yes, I've always used the terminology claiming victory.
yes. Yeah,
Right. Right.
right. And
We
we
are
don't want to
victors.
do the victim mindset. And it's easy to do. It's
Mhm.
easy to do if you don't have someone helping you see your strength and your resilience and your beauty as a woman. And many of us didn't grow up sometimes hearing those things. So I wanted to do something different for my girls.
I
That was
love
a very, when I had my two younger daughters, well, they're my older daughters now. This year they'll be 33 and 30.
Wow. Oh, time flies.
And then my two younger daughters will be 22 and 20. So I call them my two sets.
Oh, you two says okay. I love it. They must admire you, though. I'm sure. You know,
They,
they're
I want to say they're proud of me, especially my two older daughters. Now, let me say, things are not always perfect. I wish there was a more perfect
mm,
dynamic, right? Because the toughest part, I believe, of our lives are those transitional phases. So now you have children that are out in this crazy world and they're doing their best to figure it out. And sometimes they don't want to listen to mom
mm.
or whatever it may be. And my job as a mom is to let them know that they can always come back to me. But again, going back to self advocacy, they also need to know that mom is not going to take any mess. And I have every right to remind them that you cannot guilt me into parenting. I have overcome, I'm an overcomer. I know the street game. I'm very book
Mm.
intellectual. And just because the society changes does not mean that I'm going to change to you as a mom. My job as a mom is to navigate you through the society. And I did not get the age I am now by not seeing everything in full focus. So there's times when I have to allow my daughters to clip their wings, go out there and experience life, but they always know that mom is here. When they get themselves together,
There
when
you
you go
go.
out there and you bump your head enough to understand why I work the way that I work as a mom. And
Mhm.
mom for me is manager over most because God is ruler of all. I manage most of what goes on until I can, until I can't. They always have to know that God is going to be the one that rules all.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm so glad that you leaned into God. And I know that you often speak about how faith was your anchor and God. So let me ask you this. So, how did your relationship with God shape your healing process, especially during your darkest moments?
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk
you
about
know,
it.
you know, uh, I have I have always had a just like I've always known God was real. Ever since I was a little girl, I don't know. It's just something. I mean, even as a little girl, I would find myself walking to church by myself. Like I just always knew I would write God letters as a little girl, like literally write God letters. And I just always knew that God is real. Like no one can ever tell me that God doesn't exist. It doesn't matter what anyone says, because I know when I probably should have lost my mind, or I should have tapped out on parenting, or I should have, there's so many other directions that I could have gone. And
Right.
it just wasn't my path. It just wasn't my path. And so me just like trusting in God, my faith, my heart, and whether I'm quote unquote perfect or sinless, as people say, whatever, that's between God and I. God gives us purpose. And I believe that when we do what God has us do, we don't have to go and ask anyone for permission. Whether we're off, out of our lane or inside of our lane, because many have traveled many paths and they'll try to cover it up, right? That's
Right.
between them and God. So my relationship with God wholeheartedly is between me and God, because at the beginning and the ending of the day, God will be the one that says, Veda, get yourself together.
There you go.
Miss England, you got it going on today. Okay, you're fulfilling purpose, right? And I just know in those times when I should have broken, when I shouldn't have got up, coming home as a single mom, keeping the bills paid, having the tough days, going straight to my room, crying because it's like, God, what's next? God, I'm tired. Like what?
Exactly.
We go there. So it's not like you're alone if you ever go to that place like God, but just knowing that God is with us. Like it says God will never leave us nor forsake us. And I take certain things to my heart and just believe that God has never left me nor forsake me. And so
that's amazing. That's amazing. God will never leave us and forsake us.
Yeah.
He never will. He never will. You just have to trust and believe and have faith.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and let me ask you this, because I know for some women that is a struggle to lean into God, and they feel that God has already hurt them. But in essence, I feel that God is reconstructing them. They're going through a reconstruction phase, if that makes sense, because that happened to me 16 years ago. So can you talk about that, please, and educate, some of the women who are struggling with faith? They're struggling to believe in themselves, having faith in God, and leaning in on God.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things that God gave me to help me as I was maturing, because again, remember I said I had to forgive my mom. I had to let my mom go, not hold her into contempt of anything that happened to me or did not happen to me as I was in her household. He gave me this method called the potted plant method.
Okay.
And it's a visual. Usually I draw it, but what happened is that there's 3 parts to it. You have your flowers on top. People always see the flowers are blooming. They're bright. They're, whatever. The middle part is the happy part. And the bottom part are our foundation. That foundation, when I explain it, are things that got planted on us as children that we had no control over. So as adults, we may be living in an abusive relationship. There was something planted on us as children that makes us think that that abusive relationship is okay. We don't know what part. I don't know. Maybe we seen, okay, so let me go back to me. I was molested in my household. My mom was an addict. I saw my mom in DV relationships. I had brothers and sisters that had to take me to the parties while they were partying, right? So I saw a lot of drug use and all this other stuff. Though my siblings kept me safe, but I'm just saying these are things that were planted on me that I had no control over, right?
Right.
You don't know. You're with people that love you and they're going to watch out for you. But we're taking things in our eyes. We're seeing things, right? Whatever things that has happened to you that whether we feel isolated or neglected or all those things that came about when we were children. And though we probably had some fun times, because I can remember some good things that happened to me as a child, it's those challenging or those bad things or infractions that happen to us that stays with us, and now they carry over into our adulthood. Right?
Right.
We
Unfortunately, that happens. Yes.
It happens, right? We never dealt with it. Now
Mm.
we appear dysfunctional adults. So when I get to that middle part, I said, name some things that make you happy. What are some things that just make you happy, right? People start, me having a job, and then I love coloring. Give me a coloring book and some crayons. I'm just the happiest little camper, right? Name some things that make you happy. So that's what goes in that middle part.
Okay.
As we begin to pluck up those childhood things, because we have to figure out when we're dealing with things, is it something from my childhood or is it something present day? Is it something a coworker ticks you off? That could be a present day thing, right? Coworker always up in your business. You like, coworker, can you please mind your business?
Right. I've been there, done that. Mind your own business. I know. Jeez. Gee whiz.
Yeah, and so that's a present day thing. But if at some point you feel like no one's paying attention to you at work, or you're feeling isolated, or no one's talking to me, that could be a childhood thing because you didn't learn how to make friends as a child.
Exactly. Childhood trauma.
Childhood trauma, right? We have to figure out which one it is, pluck up those childhood things and exchange it for those happy parts now. So now those happy things can become seeded in our lives.
There you go.
As we're plucking up that other childhood stuff, right? So now we're putting different seeds in our foundation so that they can grow. It can give us more of a balance. We're not so topsy-turvy. We become balanced. So now when someone looks at us, we're talking about the flowers now. Someone looks at the outside of the plant, they only can see the flowers. We can always show up in our authentic self.
There you go. There you go.
We could be sad. We could be upset about something. We could tell somebody, hey, I'm a little bothered today. Okay, look, let me tell you what's going on. We could be super happy, but we're always showing up in our authentic self, authenticity.
Good point.
Authenticity.
Authenticity, however you want to pronounce it. Authenticity. That's what actually people are looking for. They are looking for authenticity. Right.
There you go. And so those things, God was able, when I saw God working through me like that God loved me so much to say, listen, this is what's going on with you, because we all have emotional turbulence and mental discourse. None of us are exempt from that. None of us are. Life is going to happen. We're going to feel emotional about it.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right?
Tell me about it.
Somebody at the job got a promotion. You should have got that promotion. We got some mental and but we all go through it.
Exactly.
So when we show up and we act like, you're going through that? Like, I've never been through that. That doesn't make people feel comfortable around you, because you're not being authentic. You're not being true. There's something that you could relate to that I just went through. It may not be the exact same situation, but you've had something that you've endured and you can become relatable, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's really how I dug into God. And then the vision of jumping into a pool. I decided to jump all the way into God. When you jump into a pool, you have everything goes into that pool. Everything's wet. And so when I think about God, I jumped into God so much so to where I kept nothing out. I knew that I could be naked in front of God.
Wow.
My good, my bad, my ugly, the challenging, the non-challenge, I just knew I could trust, because God never failed me. Like, when I look back on things that I should have been in a mental hospital, and nothing against individuals that have to go there, but I'm just saying I could have been there. And I was putting my trust all the way in God that kept me from there.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You and I have similar stories. I mean, meaning, you know, like, God, I leaned into God. I
Yeah.
leaned into God. That was key for me, leaning into God, even though I felt that, I mean, like for me, my marriage went into a downward spiral, but, God, I leaned into God.
That's it.
And I was reading Bible scriptures. I was praying. I was actually going to church every Sunday. This is all during transition time. And I started to believe in myself again. And I
Yeah.
said, you know what? God is going to get me through the pain because you can turn pain into purpose. And regarding I love the potted plant method. So, how does it help? I'd like to talk a little bit more about that. So, how does that help women break free from emotional bondages,
Okay.
emotional and mental bondages?
Okay. So, of course, first with anything, there has to be a willingness. There
Uh,
has to be a willingness. Do you really want to break free? It's kind of like someone telling me that they, I'm going to use this example, just you'll get to know me, learn me, Angeline. I kind of,
good, good.
it's like someone saying they smoke weed for medicinal purposes,
Ah,
right? So I ask, because I'm in the substance use disorder field, right? So I ask, are you smoking weed to get healed? Or are you smoking weed to get high? There's a difference.
tell me
Because
about it. Tell me about it. Right, right.
because there are some healing factors in wheat, CBD, there's some healing factors, but then sometimes people just smoke it to be high and then they get the, munchies and they want to go eat up everything in the refrigerator. Like, get out of my refrigerator, right? I've been there and done it. Okay, so potted plant. There has to be a willingness. You have to know which direction you're going.
Okay.
And so when I put up the visual, the healing, the foundation, VHF, and I get them to start going through their childhood. And now some people can't go through their childhood. If they feel like they can't do it by themselves, and I definitely do not pressure them. If they feel like they need a therapist, because I do very surface work. The surface work means that you've already uprooted it and you're ready to talk about it and you want to get it out because you're ready to move forward.
Okay.
Okay. So the surface work, like, I know that this wasn't right. I didn't like this as a child. Oh no, I'm never making my child eat vegetables after a day. Those things. When they're ready, we deal with the foundation. And then we go into the layers, right? We work our way from the bottom up.
There you go. There you go.
And I mean, it's just like a seed. The seed, you got to put the seed down. The seed has to die, and then it sprouts, and it works its way from the bottom up. And so I have it in my second book. I use it when I work with people because it comes up, and individuals that say, "Well, how do I?" Because it's like someone saying, "You have to, you need to change. You need to change," but they're not giving you the tools to change. The potted plant method is a tool to change. However, you have to be willing to use the tool.
There you go. There you go. Because without using the tool, what good is it?
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah,
good is it?
yeah.
Exactly.
You stay
Exactly.
stuck. You stay stuck in a place that you're saying you don't want to be. Oftentimes people say things, and back in the day, we used to say, walk the walk and talk the talk. Are you ready to walk the walk and talk the talk?
Good point. So, ladies, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
ready to do that? Because so many women struggle with, they struggle with feeling stuck. So, what is the first step you recommend when someone is ready to reclaim their voice and confidence? Because we talked about so many things here. And I know one of them is like peeling back the layers, getting to the root.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm going to always advertise us. Okay. You have the beautiful Angeline here. You
Thank you.
have myself. Okay. We are here. If something that we're saying here on this live stream resonates and hit you, you have a way to get in touch with Angeline. You have a way to get in touch with me, or at least I'll give you the way to get in touch with me. And we'll set up a 15-minute call to make sure that we're a perfect fit or a fit.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Sometimes, because the reason why women supported women, now let me say, men need women, but women need women.
I love that.
Men need women because men do, whether they want to admit it or not, men need women to help them keep their stuff together. That's why women are so powerful. Okay.
That's true. That's true. You're absolutely right.
And women need women because we support each other. We understand what we go through. We understand it. Okay. And when you can get someone like Angeline, or you can get someone like myself, and we're not being judgmental, we're saying, hey, sis, we're here to help you through this. If you're willing, we will help you through it. If you can apply what we're mentioning to you, if we can apply the love that we're giving to you, the judgmental love that we're giving to you, we're here for you. Okay. So the number one thing is to be willing. And then you have to know, do you need to willingly walk with someone to help you get through the first layers? Or are you going to be doing it yourself? Oftentimes, individuals find themselves on a hamster wheel. They keep running in circles. They keep running themselves in a circle. I'm the one, Angeline, that comes along. I'm the one that come along with the rock and throw it at the hamster wheel. Get out the hamster wheel.
Get out the hamster wheel. Right. Exactly. They go around and around in circles. And, like some women will say, well, can I book like a consultation? And that's it. No, it's a transformation. It's a healing process.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You have to be willing, because listen, there's a song by Erykah Badu. I don't know how many Erykah Badu listeners that you have on your streams, but Erykah Badu, there's a song called Bag Lady. Bag Lady. You gonna hurt your back carrying all them bags like that.
That's right. Carrying all that baggage with you.
Carrying the baggage. You have to let the baggage go. In order for us to grow, you have to let the baggage go. Okay, you have to be willing. You have to be willing. This is nothing that Angeline and I haven't been through. We had to be willing to let the baggage go. And like you said, our stories are similar. We dove into God. You have to figure out the method to your madness. What is going to help you get to that growth place? What's going to help you share what you've gone through to help another woman? No longer playing the victim. You are the victor. You didn't go through it and survive it for nothing. And we're going to help.
We are going to help you.
That's right.
We're going to help you, but you have to be willing.
That's right.
I always say that. You and I are on the same page. You have to be willing to put in the work.
That's right.
First of all, to acknowledge it. Surrender.
That's it.
Surrender. I'm going to claim victory. This is it. No, I'm not playing the victim anymore. Not, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to start to do the work now, because that's where the growth happens.
That's it. That's it. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's where the growth and transformation happens, ladies. Okay. Yeah. So looking back at your journey, what would you tell your younger self, or any woman currently battling silence and fear? Ooh. What if they're battling this? What would you say? What would you say?
To my younger self.
Correct. Yes.
Gosh, where I'm at right now, to my younger self, I would encourage her to continue to be strong, to continue to be kind to herself, and know that it is just a season, because back then I didn't know it was just a season. When oh goodness, and we kind of got past this, but it's like When I was being molested in my mom's under my mom's roof, and it was by a gentleman that had children with my sister, and he was sneaking my mom's room at night, and it was the God inside of me that encouraged me to hide between my mom's bed and the wall.
Oh, okay.
Because it means that he would have to have a lot more courage to crawl around the complete bed of my mom, right? And when he knew he could not get to me, he had to stop the behavior. I would encourage my younger self to continue to hide between the bed and the wall. There's a place in the Bible where it says that God hides us under the shadow of the Almighty. Oftentimes we're going through things and God is hiding us and protecting us so that no one can get to us. And when we don't realize at that moment that we're being hidden, that hiding place is our protection. So I'll continue to encourage my younger self to continue to be okay with hiding, because there was places that I would be and no one could get to me. And I did not know that at that time that I was being hid for protection.
Okay.
And so the younger self, to be able to show her that, hey, you're okay. But definitely, like I said, encourage her to continue to be strong and to continue to be kind to herself, because when we go through things like that, we begin to carry the guilt. And then we have to learn how to forgive ourselves. And that's oftentimes the person that we do not forgive, which keeps us in the bondage. So I would even encourage everyone here, those that are ready, or those, that are in the struggle, to work on forgiving themselves. Don't hold on to the guilt of it, because oftentimes it's not their fault anyway. It's just now that we have to figure out how to unwind ourselves from what we're in.
That is so powerful. Wow, that is so powerful. So if this is resonating with you right now, please #resonate in the comments, and we would love your feedback. We would love your feedback. So, and I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your heart, wisdom, and such a powerful testimony. And I know that many women who are listening today are feeling inspired to rise above their circumstances. So, how do people get in touch with you?
Okay. Well, definitely. If this resonated with them today, they can always reach out to me currently via my email. Is going to be Ms. MSZ England at gmail.com. And we will, set up a 15-minute, meet where we can talk, see where you're at, see how, I can help you, and we'll move forward from there. But it's going to be Ms. England at gmail.com, MSZENGLAND at gmail.com.
Oh, that's great. A 15-minute breakthrough. I love that. I love that. And I love the fact that we are collaborating.
Yes.
I love the fact that, and you talk about that a lot. Women supporting women. We're not here to compete with each other and tear each other down. We're here to support each other.
That's right.
I love the analogy that you spoke about, the man needing the woman, but then women needing women.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Let's support each other. Okay. So please reach out to Ms. England at gmail.com. And any final thoughts before we close this podcast episode?
Oh, the final thought.
Yes.
I was going to see if you would allow me to read this. This is something. So my first book was a poetry book, right?
Oh, good. Yes.
I'm going to do this open thought real quick.
Absolutely.
Okay. Open thought. I see that my love and my containers of plastic, cans, and bottles have a few things in common. They're recycled. I can't even tell you how many times my love have been drained, or stretched out, sorted, placed in a bin, weighed, given a price, and sold. Nevertheless, though emptied, crumbled, banged up, or squashed, the recycler doesn't reject it. God perceives a greater use. There is a greater use in you. Let's get to it.
Oh my God, that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. Where can people buy the poetry book, by the way?
It is on, that one is on Amazon as well. That's a Amazon book. Goodness, it is called Travailings, because travailing is the only thing that women do when we're giving birth. We travail through it.
Okay.
It is
How do you spell that? Is it Travailing?
yes.
Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I know what I'm going to do right here. So they could just go to Amazon.com and search for the book Travailing. I love the book. I love it.
Thank you. Let me see.
And the poetry. I love poetry.
So that was my first book. So Travailing, A Journey Through Depression, Motivation, Frustration, and Resilience.
I love that. I love that. See? That I absolutely love that. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited that you were on my show. So, if this conversation spoke to you today, please share this episode with a sister who needs encouragement. And please subscribe to Let's Break the Silence on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts for more stories like this, because we go live every week on Wednesday. Every single week on Wednesday. So, and if you're ready to reclaim your voice and confidence, I invite you to book a free breakthrough call with me and with Miss England. So let's start your journey from silence to reclaiming your strength and power. So your past does not define you, it refines you. And thank you again, LaVada, Miss England, and to everyone tuning in today. And if this episode spoke to you today, please share this out with a sister,
Definitely.
with a woman who needs to hear this message, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook. We are, and this podcast episode will also be uploaded on my Spotify. So please search for Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. And please share this. I cannot stress this enough. Please share this episode out, because someone needs to hear this message.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please stay in the green room for 1 minute. And I wish you all an amazing day. And until next time, let's keep breaking the silence.
Let's break the silence.
Let's break the silence. Have a great day, everyone.